Hello again, boys and girls. I'm here to read you a couple of stories this week. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all doing your best on e-learning. Again, I totally miss seeing all of your faces, and I think of all the fun we could have reading our Christmas books together. But that's not possible this year, so we'll keep up with reading them online, and I hope that you enjoy listening to the stories each week. I'm thinking about all of you every day and hoping that you're doing your best in your e-learning, and I'm hoping that you are finding the joy in this holiday season, even with all of the craziness that is 2020. So today I have two books for you. Our first book is called If You Take a Mouse to the Movies, and this is by Laura Numeroff, and it's illustrated by Felicia Bond. And our second book that we'll read is one of my very favorites by one of my very favorite children's authors. It's called The Mitten, and this is by Jan Brett. And she has some really other great books too that I like to read in the library, and hopefully we'll get to read some more of those this year. So our first book is called If You Take a Mouse to the Movies. Oh, and look, he's already into mischief, and we haven't even started the story, boys and girls. He's into the popcorn. If you take a mouse to the movies, he'll ask you for some popcorn. When you give him the popcorn, he'll want to string it all together. That's what I used to do when I was little, boys and girls. Then he'll want to hang it on a Christmas tree. You'll have to buy him one. On the way home, he'll see a snowman in your neighbor's yard. He'll want to make one of his own. Then he'll need a carrot for a nose. When he's all finished, he'll decide to build a fort. He'll ask you to help him. Then he'll want to make some snowballs and have a snowball fight. Playing outside will make him cold, so he'll want to go inside and curl up on the couch. He'll ask you for a blanket. Look, see, he's got his pants up there on the light drying. Once he's nice and cozy, he'll want to listen to Christmas carols. Me too. You'll have to find some on the radio. He'll probably sing along. The carols will remind him of his Christmas tree, so he'll want to make ornaments. You'll get him some paper and glue. He'll ask you for glitter. Uh-oh, glitter. When the ornaments are done, he's all covered in glitter, and so is everything else, boys and girls. He'll hang them all up. Then he'll stand back to look at the tree. Those look pretty good, though. You did a pretty good job. He'll notice his popcorn string is missing. Oh no, boys and girls, look at the tree. So he'll want to make another one. He'll ask you for some popcorn, and chances are, when you give him the popcorn, he'll want you to take him to the movies. The end. Love with those books, If You Take a Mouse. Okay, our second book, The Mitten. And I bet some of you have heard this one before. I know I read it last year. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. I love the pictures in these books too, boys and girls. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. And do you see how this is? She's got the shape of the mitten here. So Nicky went off, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. Oh no, just what his Baba thought might happen. There it is. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size. So he decided to stay. There he is. Now, what do you think is going to be in there, boys and girls? That's another cool thing about this book, is that she kind of tells you on the side what animals to expect next. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. And his talons are like his feet right here, boys and girls. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. All those animals. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotted by, stopped to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be. But what animal could argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged too many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. Look at all of them in there. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. The end. And there you go. You see Baba right there. And she's drying out his mittens. And look, one looks a lot bigger than the other. I hope you enjoyed our stories this week, boys and girls. Have a great week of e-learning, and I'll see you next week.